and watch the whole webinar right from the beginning. So let's get started since we're already there. And I just want to welcome everybody to our March Sales Success webinar. And we're going to be talking about increasing your competitive edge, an introduction to business building tools facilitated by Genworth Canada. Now, I always like to remind people of why we do these webinars. And, we really wanted to provide our network with top-notch sales training, and that's why we've been inviting experts to come and speak with you on a monthly basis via these sales success webinars to help you exactly this, maximize your earning potential. And talk to you about the powerful tools that you have at your disposal. Talk about the training that's available to you and help you leverage what we have. Now at the same time, I see most of you have found the chat, but please do ask questions. Keep chatting. I mean, everybody can see your chat. Everybody who's included in the webinar can see it, so feel free to chat amongst yourselves. Feel free to, I think last Sales Success, we actually had somebody who's looking for like a referral. Hey, I'd love to see that. Nothing like getting some business. But we'd love to see it. Questions, I do keep track of them, and we will answer them further near the end of the webinar. So if you have a question, you can type it into the chat, and I'll have Gita and Andrew address it near the end of the webinar. And with that said, I want to introduce our speakers for today. So our speakers are Gita Cartwright and Andrew Schwalm from Genworth Canada. Now Gita herself works very closely with the lenders, the lenders, mortgage brokers, and realtors to help home buyers achieve their home ownership dreams. And she's been with Genworth since June of 2007, covering Central Ontario and the Grey Bruce areas, which is huge. Prior to her time at Genworth, she spent 14 years in the banking industry, so she's got a lot of experience to share with you today. Andrew has been with Genworth for 10 years as an underwriter and then an account manager. Prior to his time with Genworth, he gained his introduction to the mortgage industry working with one of the big 6 banks. And, this experience really allows him to work with top industry partners in gaining efficiency and success in their business. So we're really excited to have Gita and Andrew. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to them to get started.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike, and I appreciate the introduction. Very kind of you, and welcome to everybody who's joining the webinar today. It's awesome to hear where everyone has joined from. Gita and I do a lot of these webinars together, and we always hope to have a national presence, so it's especially cool to be assured of having that today. So as Mike mentioned, my name is Andrew Schwalm. I'm the account manager for Genworth that works in the GTA region, and I work with all of our industry partners here in the GTA or Toronto. As mentioned, I've been with Genworth for 10 years, 5 years as an underwriter, and now my most recent 5 years on the road where I've been implementing a lot of the practices that Gita and I are going to be sharing with you today. As you know, you're joining our session that we are offering called Increasing Your Competitive Edge, which I'm certain is going to help you get the most out of your efforts that you put into your business and becoming a leader in your field. The session's going to be roughly about an hour. Mike covered off how we're going to address the questions and how to work the chat board, so please do remember that. And as mentioned, we have Gita that's joining us today from Central Ontario. So welcome, Gita, from me as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
So with that, Gita, I'm going to hand it over to you just to begin kind of with our featured topic, and you can share how Genworth is working to lend from the name of our presentation, how Genworth is increasing our competitive edge in the market.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andrew. And again, hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us. We're just so pleased to be welcomed by Royal LePage on this call and really appreciate our partnership with you guys. We at Genworth are an international global company formed in 2004, but last year we celebrated our 20-year anniversary, so we're really pleased to have a presence in Canada for the last 20 years. Globally, we've got over $100 billion in assets and have a client base in excess of 15 million. We are represented in 26 countries and have a scope and a scale that really is second to none in this industry. Our experience in other markets around the world really helps us develop products, services to help more Canadians achieve that dream of home ownership. we're constantly assessing the Canadian marketplace, and especially now, and coming up with innovative products to meet the needs of Canadians. Our job is to work with lenders, mortgage brokers, real estate agents like yourselves, and builders to help them grow their business. But more importantly, it's to help make the dream of home ownership more affordable and accessible for your clients. Now, all of the tools that we're going to talk about today and highlight today can be found on our user-friendly website. And when I say user-friendly, I'm being very honest. I'm so not, this technology that we're using today was new for Andrew and I, and our website is way easier, I'll tell you that. So please, we make your needs, we take them very seriously. In response to that, we've got some amazing suite of tools to help improve your efficiency and increase the value that you bring your clients. So if you haven't already done so, we urge you to check out our website at genworth.ca. Again, the website is very easy to maneuver, and the time you spend surfing in our little spot there will definitely bring you and your clients a ton of value. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass it back over to Andrew. He's going to start us off on our topic of today, which is increasing our participants' competitive edge.
Okay, thank you, Gita, and to follow up on your technology piece and the challenges that we're having or have had getting connected here. I hear on my headset that it's slowing down a little bit as I'm listening out, or if I'm not coming through clearly, please jump in and take over for me. So I'm going to begin with our agenda, and during today's session, we're going to review making contacts, your introduction, tips on prospecting, and as we go along, we'll show you a lot of tools that will help you become more successful in your efforts to gain more business. So whether you're just starting out or you're seasoned as a realtor, or you're working on building out 2016, what your session is seeing how using the tools that we share with you is going to help you grow your business and how it's going to help you increase your competitive edge. So I think just in our preliminary discussion, we understood that there was some very well-tenured realtors that are joining the call today, and some folks that may be newer in their business, but regardless of the experience that you have, you are going to be taking away a couple great tools and things you can implement right away, and I'm looking forward to a great session. Gita, I know it's quick in passing it back to you. Could you get us started by sharing the importance of continuously making good contacts and building on that?
Absolutely, Andrew. And I did hear a little bit of pausing in your when you were speaking. So please, if it is me as well, don't hesitate to jump in. So I will say that I think we'll all agree that making good contacts in this industry is crucial. And it doesn't just happen at industry events or business functions. I think you'll agree it happens every day. It could be at a soccer game, hockey rink, while you're volunteering at a community event. You can increase your competitive edge by just getting out in your community. Now, what you need next are really good networking and communication skills. Now, to be a good networker and a communicator, one of the best skills you can have is to be an active listener. And I certainly don't want to make this sound simple, because it really isn't that simple. We work a lot on that at Genworth, and I've spoken to many people who realize that generally we aren't good listeners. And the reason why we're not is because we're so committed to helping our clients that sometimes we cut them off before they're finished speaking because we think we know what's best for them. We want to tell them the great ideas that we have and help go right into solution mode. We really need to take a step back, because we need that rapport to build with our clients so that we can see what else that they're looking for and discover all the hidden opportunities that are out there. We use structured active listening skills that will encourage people to speak with you, which allows you to learn a little bit more about them and establish that common connection that is just so important. To be a good active listener, be prepared in a conversation to ask some good questions. And what I mean about good questions certainly is not, you don't have to think about these really in-depth, open-ended questions. It could be something as simple as asking them to clarify by saying, how so? Or can you elaborate on that? I just want to understand a little bit more. Reflect on what the other person is saying and then provide them with more opportunities to speak or to clarify. When you encourage rapport, you need to show genuine interest and let the conversation flow back and forth. A really good test for me, I'm a talker, I love to talk. If I'm monopolizing a conversation and I'm doing all of the talking, I'm clearly not listening. So gauge yourself. Even if you are a talker and you're a social person, your client should be doing 80% of the talking. The 20% that you're doing is really just to elicit questions and get them talking. So to recap, show your genuine interest in others by not interrupting, ask some really good questions, and then give them a chance to speak. Be willing and enthusiastic to, provide help and support. And then most importantly, and I can't stress this enough, follow through when you say you're going to do something. Our clients are, going through some stressful times when they're purchasing a home, the financing of a home. It's very stressful. So when you say, I'll get back to you in an hour, make sure they understand that you're going to do that, even just with an update. Now, Andrew and I do a lot of presentations. We meet a lot of clients on a day-to-day basis, much like all of you on the phone today. So we realize that as we do that, we're making first impressions all the time. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass it back over to Andrew to talk a little bit about making a good first impression and how important that is.
For sure. Thank you, Gita. I know usually we ask and we say on the chat board, please type in how long you think it takes to make a first impression, understanding that it may be difficult to get all the responses in this manner here. I just want everyone to think about how quickly you make a first impression. I'll let that sit with you just for a second.
So I'm gonna chat that out, Andrew.
What most you...
Oh, sorry, Andrew.
Yeah,
I'm gonna chat
you can chat that out.
Some answers while you keep talking.
Sure. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to hear what comes back. I think most of us would agree that it happens in less than 30 seconds, and chances are some responses are going to say 5 seconds, immediately 1 or 2 seconds. And all of them happens in person. Much of this is based on how we look, and I've been to some Royal LePage events. Everyone always looks fantastic, so not much concern there. But it's very important. And also how we shake hands. And I always share a bit of a story because a handshake to me is very important in the business world.
Oh, Andrew, I don't know if you
sure
can hear
for
me
a
or
lot
not.
of us as well.
Yeah, Andrew, you cut out a little bit there.
Yeah.
I did advise the audience of the issues we've had. No, while I'm cutting in there, I'll just say definitely most people are saying immediately. Sometimes it's instant, 3 seconds. The longest I have is 2 minutes, which is pretty lenient.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
So I don't know if you want to try again.
Yeah, and I mean,
try again, Andrew, just to see if it works.
Sure, I'll try again. If it cuts out, then Gita, just if I hear you talk, and I'll build on,
Yeah, it's sorry, you're cutting out, Andrew. I'm sorry, you're cutting out again.
Okay, sure. Well, please go forward then, Gita.
Sorry,
I don't want to hold up the presentation.
Well, I will tell Andrew's story because he shared it with us on the team, and he shared it in other presentations. And I laugh because a handshake, it's sort of a lost art now. My son, who's 14 years old, I mean, he does the fist pump or sort of a half hug with his friends, and they don't do a proper handshake anymore. And so I feel like that's something that sometimes we don't do well, but it tells a lot about us as individuals. And we talk a lot about doing a really good handshake, and I know Andrew's been in situations where he hasn't loved his handshake, and he's sort of stepped back and said, you know what, I didn't love that handshake. I like a do-over because I didn't like it. So I think what we need to do is understand that handshake is that first piece, apart from when people are seeing you for the first time, that part of that perception that they have of you. And the fact that most of you indicated how quickly we make those first impressions, I mean, as human beings, and I think we all do this ourselves, when you meet someone for the first time and you decide right there and there, I like them or I don't. And if you like them, that's a great feeling because they don't have to do a whole lot to change that because now you already like them. If they don't like you, it's very difficult to change that perception or that feeling because human beings don't like being wrong. We don't want to be wrong about how we feel about somebody. We've already made that assessment. So like Andrew said, that handshake, eye contact, looking the part, feeling great, looking confident, all that stuff goes into that first 30 seconds. And we really can't emphasize enough that plays a big part in how folks perceive us and the confidence they have in us. And sort of along with that, we have what we call our pitch or our 30-second elevator speech or our introduction. And I think you can see from the screen here, this is a bit of a template. So who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? And what are the benefits to someone using your product or service? So this is just sort of a guideline. This is something that you'll want to take some time. It'll be a very fluid document. It's something that we've been working on probably, almost 10 years ago for myself, and I know Andrew's the same in terms of how do we introduce ourselves when we're in front of our clients. And you only have a quick moment. I don't know, I'm sure many of you have been at an event where someone says, oh, by the way, would you mind just, standing up and introducing yourself? And there's nothing better than being excited about that because you prepared something ahead of time. The worst feeling is thinking, what am I supposed to say? So what I would do, I'll give you a couple of examples. So if it was something formal like this, where I was doing a presentation, I would say, my name is Gita Cartwright. I'm an account manager with Genworth Canada, covering Central Ontario and Grey Bruce. I've been in my role for 9 years, but spent 14 years in retail banking before this. I have the pleasure of working with mortgage individuals, realtors, builders, by providing support and training so that their experience with us is always seamless. I might say something in a less formal environment like, I'm Gita, I work with Genworth Canada, and get the chance to work with all mortgage providers and realtors, helping them build their business. So what I want to do with that is create enough of a statement that elicits more questions. People are interested. It's certainly not easy to describe what Andrew and I do for a mortgage insurance company, but we don't also want to make it too simple. You want your introduction to pass the so what test. So what? If I'm 24/7, that used to be a big deal. It really isn't now. We're all so accessible that really doesn't differentiate anymore. What are the things that in your introduction set you apart from the hundreds and hundreds of realtors that are doing the same service? So maybe it's your tenure. Maybe it's your specialty in certain types of markets. Maybe it's the company you work for and you want to brag about sort of their tenure in the industry. So we really encourage you to put this introduction together. Take a few seconds and just jot these down. And like I said, as you go through time with listening to other people speak, you're going to pick up little words and phrases that you like. Make sure you use that with your introduction, and pretty soon you're really going to have something very polished that's going to give you a lot of confidence when you're out there in the market, sort of introducing yourself and networking out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on, and then we'll let Andrew in on the next slide just to see if his mic is working a little better. But what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about prospecting basics. And I know that some of you out there probably have been around for a very long time. Some of you have been, just starting this. So whatever you are in, and if you're working on your 2016 plan and how you want to sort of, reach those targets and goals, prospecting obviously is one of the big things. What we don't want is sort of an effect where you're busy, and then have nothing, and then realize you need to get out prospecting, and then you get really busy again, then have nothing. We want the pipeline to be full all the time, so that prospecting needs to be done on a continuous basis. And I know it's not easy, but I mean, take a few of the sort of suggestions that we have and use what's best for you. So really, I think the thing we all start out doing is getting the word out to friends and family and relatives, and know that you're working in the industry. And I don't think it's about, hey, I need you to give me referrals, but I need you to understand what I do for a living. And this is how I'm going to help. Those folks may not necessarily need your help at the moment, but their circle of friends might. So that's sort of how we need to make sure that everybody knows what it is that we do and why we do it. Now, one of the best things about our industry, I think, is that everyone we know needs a home, right? And then for Andrew and I, it's about home financing, right? So get the word out professionally. There's a lot of social sites like Facebook and LinkedIn. If you're going to use Facebook, you might want to consider updating your profile with that 30-second pitch, that professional pitch we just talked about, along with a nice professional-looking photo. Now, if you prefer the personal approach, you can send letters out to family, friends, referral sources, prospective clients. That's always such a nice thing to get in the mail. I don't know the last time I saw a handwritten note come through the mail for me. So people will notice that if that's something that you enjoy doing. Now, Facebook or LinkedIn also allows you to connect with people that you have worked with in the past. Now, if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, and I say this because, quite honestly, not that long ago, I really wasn't that familiar with LinkedIn. But take the time to check it out. It is currently the most popular professional networking site for professionals like yourselves to keep in touch. Now, also don't hesitate to connect with the people that you currently do business with. Let them know what you do, who you do it for, and the benefits you provide. Again, that's that introduction, again, coming out in ways that you network yourself. Get comfortable with letting people know what you do and why you enjoy it. And if you have several ways to say it, you're always going to come out sounding confident. Now, there are a lot of folks in the same industry. As you know, you guys are coast to coast. You're in every market. It's important to know yourself and what special value or experience you bring to the table. Why are you doing what you're doing, and what makes it different to work with you? Now, networking clubs are also a great way to get your name known and connect with other successful business people in your local community. If you're just starting up, there's local chapters. If you've been in the industry for some time, I've seen tremendous success with folks that actually they create their own networking club with some of the local business partners. Now, this is sort of, the best advice we can give you when you're talking about attending a networking event. Just being there is not enough. You need to be prepared. Know who you want to meet. Set a target for yourself so that you come away with at least one good contact. So, sometimes, you tell somebody, listen, you've got to go to a chamber event or a networking event. It terrifies people. They don't really want to go to a room full of strangers and mix and mingle. But really, our time is valuable, and we want to make the most of the things that we're doing. So if you're going to go to a networking event, tell yourself, I need 2 good contacts, 3 good contacts before I leave that I'm going to be able to follow up with. And that way, when you spend your time away from friends and family, or the things that you like to do, your own hobbies, you realize you've made an impact in your own business. Now, multimedia opens so many doors for you to connect with your prospects and referral sources through electronic communication. Genworth knows this, and we've made it easy for you to professionally brand your material with professional, easy-to-use marketing templates. There's news articles and product updates. And I know there were some questions about this before we even started, and our marketing source is amazing, but we're going to show you some examples in a few moments, so stay tuned for that. So to summarize, the best way to increase your competitive edge is to be professionally prepared. Take advantage of every opportunity to get your name known. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've been an account manager for almost 9 years, and I still remember the value that I gained in job shadowing many of my colleagues in the field. I still job shadow now with some of our newer account managers, and I learn from them because they're fresh and they're looking at things from the beginning. So it's still great to be able to do that. And if you have the opportunity, I really recommend that you do. And in fact, like I said, many of us still do it, and it's a great way to share best practices and keep ideas fresh. So Andrew, we're going to try again. Hopefully your mic's is all good now, and maybe try sharing the benefits of job shadowing.
Yeah, thank you, Gita. I'm not sure, you were cutting out a little bit there, so how do I sound?
Sound good.
How do I
so
sound
far.
right now? All right?
Yep, so far so good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so in regards to job shadowing, it goes without saying, in my opinion anyways, to be professional, we should do what the professionals do. So when we make a new contact and meet other professionals, we should check out their websites and look how they're marketing themselves. If you're new, look to successful people around you, and if you're seasoned, still look to the professionals around you, because remember, in order to have that competitive edge, we have to be willing to try new things. The great news to this concept is that most successful people are willing to share their best practices. And when they share those best practices, it's important to listen to every one of their suggestions, leave the rest. In no way can you do it all, so you have to focus with what aligns to your strengths and even ask for feedback on what your ideas are. Now, human nature, when we take something, we want to give something back. So as always, I do recommend in return to offer to help them out somehow, because everyone appreciates support. And that could be in line with what one of their suggestions are, what's making them successful. If you can find an avenue for you to support one of those ideas or initiatives that they use, they'll of course be extra appreciative and be happy to share some more of their successes going forward. In our industry, information is powerful. So you again can really help yourself by being informed about what's happening in your market, your products, your programs, and what partners like Genworth have to offer our realtor partners at Royal LePage. It may go without saying, because I know we're all busy, but we need to keep informed on what our competition is doing as well. So take a look at their websites, solicit some feedback on what they may be doing, just to make sure that you're staying ahead of what they're doing, and if there's a way to kind of, put a wedge in front of that to keep yourself top of mind for the customers and your key referral sources, then you want to do that. The tools that we share with you today are just a sample of how Genworth can help you. And I'm sure Royal LePage also helps out with some tools and programs that they have that are designed to make your job easier. And some of it may seem like a lot of work up front, and truthfully, some of it can be, especially when it's new to you. But when you spend the time to get that initial impression of the tool right away, it becomes easier and easier. And the tool that I'm going to speak to in just a minute, mymarketingsource.ca, is one in which it may take half an hour to go in, familiarize yourself with the website, save all of your data. But once you complete that, it's incredibly easy to utilize afterwards. So before I get into the My Marketing Source, I'm going to lead in with a program we have called Purchase Plus Improvements. Some of you may have heard of this. Some of you, it's going to be brand new, but we feel it's very important to our realtor partners, and we get great feedback on sharing this program to our partners. And what this program is a program where your customers, when they buy a home, they can include the cost of a renovation into their mortgage, and it can only be done at the time of purchase. And why this is so important right now is that you may or may not know that the government a few years ago implemented a maximum loan to value on refinance transactions at 80% loan to value. So historically, what would happen is your customers may buy a home, they get into the home, they could renovate their house using a line of credit, and once the work was completed, they used to be able to refinance up to 95% of that completed value, and they would roll that line of credit into their mortgage at that time. And it was beneficial to them to do that because then they would only have one payment on their mortgage with a low interest rate versus having a mortgage segment and a line of credit segment, the line of credit again at a higher interest rate. And we all know it, for the average consumer, once you utilize that credit line, it's very difficult to pay down the balance. If it's in the mortgage, they're forced to amortize it and pay it down. So that was kind of the old method. And bringing it back to that government change that limits the loan to value on a refinance to 80%, your customers are no longer able to do that. So the opportunity you can share with them is when they're buying a home, do the renovation at the time of purchase, put the cost into their mortgage. And we can certainly share more of this information with you on another call, or it's on our website if you take down the name of the program. But why it's important to our realtor partners is on either of two spectrums. If you're representing a seller and you're having an open house for a home, and within the home it has a very dated kitchen and old flooring and an old bathroom, all things that are very important for prospective home buyers to consider when they're buying a house. If you have a house that is in that state, you can present the Purchase Plus Improvement Program at an open house to allow the potential buyers to look past that dated kitchen and the dated bathroom. And we've seen it done, and this would be, I guess, the ideal way to do it. There would be a lot of work, but the realtor will bring in a contractor ahead of time, put together a quote for the kitchen, the floor, and the bathroom, leave that quote on the counter, and then they would prepare a document that shows how their mortgage payment would increase if they put that renovation into their mortgage at the time of purchase. Some contractors are able to get pictures based on, you know, the dimensions of the kitchen, or IKEA website. You can put in your dimensions, create what it may look like, and it allows the potential buyers to look past the dated kitchen and the dated bathroom. Now, on the other hand, if you're representing buyers and they're going to look at a home and they're saying, well, you know, I love this house, I love the neighborhood, but, you know, I need a brand new kitchen and a brand new bathroom. This one, as much as I love it, I got to pass on this house because it's there. You can share with them that, you know, a mortgage professional that you're comfortable with can provide this to your customer as an opportunity for them, so they don't miss out on that house and they get the brand new kitchen, bathroom, flooring. So there's some examples there: replacing the roof, windows, finishing the basement, upgrading the energy efficiency. Really, for this and how we consider it at Genworth is, as long as the structural integrity is not being compromised, we can consider the improvement under the Purchase Plus Improvement Program. Now, this leads me in nicely to mymarketingsource.ca. Just as we click forward on the presentation here. And mymarketingsource.ca is a tool that I'm going to recommend all of you take a look at. And the reason being is this tool that we offer allows you to create marketing material branded to Royal LePage, branded to your business for free. The only cost to you is the printing cost. And how it works, very simply, is you can just type in mymarketingsource.ca into the browser and you'll gain access. Or you can go to our website, genworth.ca. We have a specific realtor tab. You can click on that. It has all our tools for you right there. You can access it. Once you get to the website, it's going to ask you to register. And what you're going to create there is just your username and password. That will gain you access to the site. It will then prompt you to create your profile. And this is the part that I said would maybe take half an hour. I'm saying that would be on the very extreme length of time it would take you to create your profile. Likely, if you have a business photo already, you know, a JPEG or an image of your company logo, it's going to be a lot quicker. And you're just going to input your name, your contact information, your license number. It'll then ask you to upload those photos, and then you save it. Once that's saved, every time you select a document in our library, that information is going to be pre-populated. And if I ask you to take a look at the screen now, you'll see on all these documents, in the left-hand column, there is an example of how the information will be pre-populated from the profile that you create. So it's very smooth, and the only one that will have a Genworth logo is if there's a program specific to Genworth. You know, it's going to be, you're promoting our Purchase Plus Improvement Program. If you're in an area that has, you know, a lot of folks that have recently immigrated to Canada, you know, the GTA region where I work, it's very popular. that will have Genworth logo on it. Everything else will be just specific to yourself. To build on my idea of that Purchase Plus Improvement program of hosting an open house and giving that option of looking beyond the state of the home as it is and saying, you know, if you put a $50,000 kitchen in here, this is what your mortgage payment will do. I have an example of that on the far right-hand side of this screen. And this is a document that we have within my marketing source that is the mortgage scenario calculator. And it allows you to put in 3 different mortgage scenarios if you'd like to have this at one of your open houses. So you could, for example, have, I'll use a very low price in the GTA right now, but if you have an open house, the home has a $500,000 purchase price. You theoretically could put a mortgage scenario for $500,000 with a variable rate. Boom, show what the variable rate payment would be. Here's a $500,000 mortgage with the fixed rate. This is what your payment would be. And then you could have a mortgage scenario of $550,000, and here is what the scenario or what the mortgage payment would be. And what you would be showing in that last one is if you utilize the Purchase Plus Improvement program, this is how much your payment will increase. And it's just a great tool. And we have so many within the library that you can use in just that manner. It just takes time to go in and familiarize yourself with the website. You'll also find thank you cards, invites, PowerPoint templates, all those sorts of things. So if you're able to, and Royal LePage allows for it, which I believe they do, you can brand all this material to your business. So a fantastic tool, and one that I would say make sure you make note of this and take it away. My marketing source now. I'm going to kick it back to Gita. He asked Gita to marketing to large. Yeah.
Sorry, your microphone's stuttering a little bit. I know you were going to pass it back to me, so maybe I'll just take it right away, now. Sorry, that was really awesome talking about my marketing source. And I think in conjunction with that, when we talk about marketing to large groups and getting that information out there, we've got so many tools and things that we want to give you to arm you to be able to do that. So when we're talking about marketing to large groups, right? So local organizations, local community groups, anything that an organization that allows you to be creative in the packaging and customization of your programs, or what it is that you offer specifically for your prospective clients, you want to make sure that you get involved in those. And I guess the advice is to know your target market. I mean, I think we want to throw a blanket out there, and we want as many clients as we possibly can, and of course that's what we want. But I think what we need to do is decide on how am I going to follow up with that. If I've got such a large grouping of people that I'm trying to reach out to and impact, I'm not going to be able to follow up the way I would like to. So knowing your target market and where you'd like to maybe be specific in your skill set, that'll help you. And I think doing your research in terms of some of these programs that, Andrew talked about Purchase Plus Improvement, on our with all the things that we have in our marketing source, what we didn't have on the screen, which we should have, is 10 great reasons to use a realtor. Maybe there's something about rent versus own. What's happening in the housing market? What about new Canadians or Genworth's unique family plan? I mean, there are a lot, depending on where you are, and again, you're coast to coast, your demographics are going to be different, and you're going to want to attract certain types of clients depending on what it is that your market holds for you. So doing your research on that website and using what my marketing source has to offer will really help you hone in on that. Now, most of all, I think we talk about a lot of different suggestions today. Please take what you feel is worthwhile for you and that you can be consistent with. But most of all, please don't be afraid to try something new. And I think sometimes we get involved in something and fear stops us. It almost paralyzes us a little bit, and we don't want to do it because we're afraid to try something new. Successful people are not afraid to jump off their comfort zone and dive into something. So you need to just ask yourself, if I wasn't afraid to do this, maybe it's public speaking, maybe it's joining a group, or maybe it's doing something where it really puts you out there. If it wasn't about being nervous to do it, would you do it? And if the answer is yes, then push yourself a little bit to try those things. Now, before we move on, I just want to give you a couple of some examples of some special programs. Now, this is where having a great contact with a mortgage professional is going to be key, because they have all the expertise on these programs. But what I would suggest is that you learn a little bit about them yourself. The more information you have, the more powerful you are, and the more confident you're going to come across to your clients. And we always say, when we're working on certain things, is get good at what you're not good at. So you guys are great at what you do already. So, invest in yourself like you are today, and learn a little bit more about some of the products and programs and special niche products that are out there that will help, kind of lift your view with the clients, and separate you from the rest. Now, let's talk about advertising. Now, whatever medium that you use, I know a lot of you advertise. It could be newspaper, flyers, multimedia. Advertising really does create opportunities to connect with your customers. And I'll pass it back over to Andrew to talk a little bit about advertising.
For sure. Thank you, Gita. And let me know if I'm still okay. So the upside to advertising, of course, is it offers exposure and it builds brand awareness. The cost and efforts of advertising, I understand, can be expensive, but one of the ways to advertise with minimal costs is to first take advantage of opportunities to partner with others in your business to reduce that cost. And for ideas to keep it fresh, check out what other successful business partners in your network or communities are doing by checking out their websites, their Facebook pages, any social media, and advertisements they may have in local newspapers. And I guess building on that, local newspapers, with everything being digital now, seeing where others have jumped on that opportunity through newspapers, through Facebook advertising, whatever it may be, and see where you may be able to implement that into your own business as well. And when it comes to marketing and advertising, frequency and consistency is key. Now, I know we've talked about your introduction, connecting with organizations, featuring special programs, in advertising. Gita, I'll pass it back to you on a couple quick ideas on how we can get more involved in our community, which I understand is very important, and perhaps on how to become a local expert.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andrew. If you're comfortable speaking to groups, then become a local expert. Offer your knowledge to community groups like Rotary. Maybe it's a local business networking group, or maybe host a webinar or call like this of your own. The technology is amazing, considering that you can, get so many people together and geography is not an issue. If you're not comfortable with speaking in public, and I know many folks are not. I mean, I remember, and I'll just tell you, we do it all the time now, Andrew and I, we're always, speaking in front of clients, but the first time I had to speak to a group of realtors was almost 10 years ago, as you know, about 9 years ago. There were 120 realtors in the room, and I couldn't even eat breakfast. I couldn't sleep the night before. I was terrified. But preparation and confidence in your material, that really helps, and practice. So this is a little bit about jumping off your comfort zone and jumping into something that you're not comfortable with. I've seen people go from terrified to being wonderful speakers by joining Toastmasters. Maybe they've volunteered their time at a school or a social club where the setting is a little bit more casual, so it's a nice way to ease into it. Now, for the courageous, look to be speaking on local radio call-in programs. Maybe you want to do a weekly write-up to the local paper, or you want to present information to a community group. really do some research about what's available to you in your local community, and there are a lot of ways to jumpstart your business or enhance your business that way. Now, of course, keeping in mind that some of these efforts may not earn you deals directly, but when someone is referred to you and they recognize you, maybe from TV, it was radio, maybe they saw you at a community event, your credibility is already well established. So many of you may already be associated with an organization or a charity group. Partnering with organizations and charities is also a great way to give back to your community and increase your visibility at the same time. Now, remember, it's not about necessarily getting clients, but rather increasing your contribution to your community and meeting new people. Supporting events and organizations that you're already passionate about, you're naturally going to meet people with similar interests, and you're going to expand your network and increase your community visibility, which is so important. You can further expand your network by just attending community club events like Rotary, Chamber of Commerce, getting involved with these folks. Read your local paper or community website for more information on local events. It's a great way to stay connected with your community. And I know, I didn't grow up in Barrie, Ontario. I grew up quite north of here. But when I first moved here, even just becoming part of a community to feel like you're part of what's going on, that's when I looked at the local paper and what is important in my community. What are the things the celebrations that they do or the festivals? Be a part of that stuff and make sure that you make that a priority to be visible. Andrew, we've talked about getting out there in the community. What are your thoughts on keeping in touch and asking for that valuable referral?
Yeah, thank you, Gita. I included a quote on the presentation here that we can all read through on the screen. Is leaving referrals to chance is a crime against your business. It's self-explanatory, but incredibly true. And I love how it's written there. And one of the things that I've had to work at in my sales type role is asking for the business. Now, I've always been comfortable in just say, hey, can I get your next deal, or something in that manner, right? If I was a realtor, it would be just along the lines of, hey, when you buy that house, can I get that deal? And sometimes it would work, and sometimes it doesn't. But over the time that I've now been in my role, I've kind of refined a very easy way into asking for the business. And where I'm able to work that in is at the time that somebody was thanking me for something that I've done. And I guess I could just, if someone feels at the end of this presentation they wanted to thank me for sharing some of the stuff we had, I could say, well, I'm very happy you enjoyed it. I feel confident that these tools are going to help you in your job. But if you really want to thank me, when your customer works with their mortgage professional, can you please ask them to request Genworth? Sure, I have no problem asking my customer to do that. Or, again, to put it in your world, if you were working with a consumer on something and they wanted to know what some house prices are or what they would be looking at, what type of house is in their price range, they say, thank you so much for taking the time on finding recent sales for me that I can take into consideration. I really appreciate it. Well, certainly no problem. I'm happy to help you anytime. What I'd ask of you is that, with me helping you and you appreciating what I'm doing, can I represent you as your realtor? And it works very smooth into the conversation. So I'd ask you just to practice that when folks are thanking you for something. If there's a way that they're able to help you, or you're coming into that conversation or that meeting with an ask, the perfect time for it is when they are thanking you. So please take that. So I know we had some participation earlier, and there was some questions. I think with one of the questions I skipped over with the My Marketing Source, if I can just bring your memory back to that, is, it is a free tool. You are able to print it. How you save it is in PDF format. So the question we had prior to the call coming live was, can you text it out? I guess in theory, you are able to text out those documents. Mike, Gita, and myself were kind of chatting about it, where you could have it on a web page. You could copy and paste that URL and then text that out. But I think sort of the theme there is any way that you think you can electronically share a PDF, and likely folks on the call will know how to do that in far many more ways than I do, you're able to do it. So you open it up, you save it as a PDF, you save it on your web page if you have one, or you save it wherever it is, you can email it out. However your imagination allows you to think about sending it, you can do that. Now, the other question I had was, are you able to brand it? And I think we covered that off where, yes, you can brand it to your business, anything that's within there. So we just covered off, again, the best time to ask for the business is during a thank you. And, in summary, to increase your competitive edge, to go with the theme of the presentation, we need to be able to make good contacts, be a great networker, get comfortable in those types of settings, be professional, look professional, and always have a few different ways of saying our 30-second pitch and having that at hand anytime you're asked, what do you do? And at Genworth, we ask that, I wouldn't say at Genworth we ask that, we certainly promote our tools because we feel that they truly and sincerely can help you with your business. So everything that we shared with you today, please take it away, take a look at it, and find the 1, 2, or 3 things that you can implement into your business right away. I'm not sure, I don't have the chat board up here, but Mike, just before we get to our conclusion, was there anything that had come up during the presentation?
Not too much. One question that some people had, and certainly if people have questions, I just want to remind them, you can type it in the chat. A few people were trying to while we were talking about the mymarketingsource.ca, were trying to log in, and they were encountering an error. And one, this is from Lori Blaha from Oakville, was saying that she couldn't do it on her iPad, but when she tried it on her computer, it worked. And the Beaumont group out in Halifax, they were saying they had issues, and then they were like, oh, nope, we got it sorted out. I tried it on my phone myself. I have a Samsung Note 4. It worked well for me. And somebody else here is Lisa. Lisa from Lisa Moves You was saying it worked well on her mobile phone. Is there any platform restrictions for mymarketingsource.ca?
Not that I'm aware of. I can take that away in regards to the iPad and not being able to access it there. Yeah, I can check on that for you.
Okay.
But nothing that I'm aware of.
No, and other than that, it's just been very quiet. I think people are just really taking this all in.
That's great. Yeah, there's lots of information, and maybe they're working on their 30-second pitch, or like you said, taking those tools and multitasking, checking them out right away, which is great as well. I love to hear that. So with that, thank you so much for joining the call today. I know everyone is very busy. Again, the idea of the call and joining this today was to share all that Genworth offers and allow you to walk away with a couple different ways of presenting yourself as a professional and taking away a few tools. And I think we're successful in sharing that with you. I know myself, I'd like to thank you. Gita, I'll let you do this same if you'd like as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting us today and giving us your attention for an hour. We know how busy you are. We appreciate it. And we wish you guys tremendous success in 2016 and going forward. And we are here to help. So please, if you don't know who your account managers are, if you've not met them yet from Genworth, reach out. We certainly are here to support you guys in your endeavors.
Yeah, and so one of the questions that we do have coming in from Donna McMurdy from Brockville, she's asking, if a client is working with a mortgage broker already, does the buyer ask the mortgage broker to work through Genworth?
Yeah, certainly that would be brilliant. Go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, they can ask their mortgage broker. We work with all the lenders in the industry, so they would be happy to hear that and send it through, for sure. Thank you for that.
Yeah. The rest I see a lot of, just a lot of thanks, which is awesome. Some people are actually saying they're already on the My Marketing Source. Now, the Beaumont group is saying they're not working for them, iPad, iPhone, or MacBook. So I've taken down, somebody passed on the error code that they were getting, and I'll share that with you guys afterwards.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I will say, like I said, I tried it out. I was getting it. I'll bring it back to my presentation for everybody here just real quick. Just to remind you guys that Genworth Canada is, of course, one of our partners with the RLP Network. They've been a great partner for us for years, and you can find more information about Genworth Canada in the RLP Network via rlpnetwork.com, marketing, preferred suppliers, and mortgage insurance. In the Marketing Center, some of these templates we've already loaded into the Marketing Center as well. So, for instance, Gita had mentioned the 10 great reasons to use a realtor. We have that loaded in the Marketing Center in the RLP Network as well for you to use. It's really easy. Just go to the Marketing Center, and in the Design Center section, just do a quick search for Genworth, and you'll find them all there. So really easy there. At the same time, I invite you all to join us at the National Sales Conference, because Gita's going to be there, so you can put a face to the voice. September 19th to 21st, rlpsalesconference.com if you want to know that. And of course, I thank everybody for joining us month after month, and I hope you'll join us next month on April 20th, when we're going to be talking about lead generation and conversion, facilitated by Richard Robbins himself from the Richard Robbins International. The registration link is in the video description right now. At the same time, we're going to be sending you out an email right at the end of this webinar with an invite to that as well. And one of the things that Gita had talked about was focusing on the target audience. And I definitely invite you all to join us at our live workshops, royallepage.ca/training, for all the dates and location near you. We're still going coast to coast for the next 2 months. And one of the big sections we talk about is target audience, and we show you a really cool tool where you put in a postal code and it'll actually show you details about the audience in that area. So definitely check that out. I saw St. Thomas was just asking about, will Andrew or Gita be at the RLPC conference in September? So yes, indeed, Gita will be there. And they're also mentioning that they had issues with the mymarketingsource.ca on Safari as a browser, and that might be the issue. So I'd recommend, if you're trying it on, try it with Chrome. You can install Chrome on a MacBook and give that a shot. As far as another point that Gita and Andrew both made, is staying competitive and always maintaining that competitive edge in the technology that's around you. And we've got 2 really awesome tech webinars that are coming up for you. Firstly, in April, Google Slides, we're going to be showing you how to customize your listing presentation from anywhere with Google Slides. That's one of the greatest tools that you can use, and you can have your listing presentation ready to go at any point. And in May, we're going to show you how to set up your YouTube channel. So to make sure that everybody knows how they can set up their YouTube channel, these can be found via royallepage.ca/training. Of course, all our webinars can be found in the RLP Network, rlpnetwork.com, under the training section. You can watch any of our past webinars. You guys touched on so many of the points that we've talked about in previous sales success webinars. Prospecting, you've talked about, you talked about the listing presentations. These are all other topics that have been done as well in our previous sales success webinars. So, if you're going, man, I want to know more about that. And I think Andrew and Gita, thank you guys so much. You did an awesome job of, I took a lot of good information out of it. And there's even more, is what I'm saying, in the RLP Network as well. You can always find us on royallepage.ca/training. You can subscribe to YouTube as well. And with that, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email, learningservices@royallepage.ca. So, Gita and Andrew.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm still looking at it. Still haven't really had any more questions coming in, but we'll stick on the line. But, I definitely want to thank both of you guys for the presentation. I thought that was really, like I said, I took out some great information, and it was awesome.
Thanks so much. Thanks.
A pleasure.
I definitely noted those open house ideas, and think back up to myself when we were buying our last place a couple of years ago, and we had those questions about we wanted to replace the electrical panel, and it was like, man, I should have done that.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
So let's see. So let's just gonna have a see here. See, I mean, I don't see any other questions, and it's 3 o'clock, so I think we're good to say thanks to everybody. So I'll let you guys say thanks. So thanks everybody from Learning Services, and I'll turn to Gita and Andrew to say a quick thanks as well.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciated
Yep.
the time with you guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right.